And finally tonight, This Old House comes to Detroit. Now, the show, it's in its 37th year. It spent 10 episodes working on a house in Russell Woods with homeowners Frank and Tamiko Polk. But it was more than just rehabbing a neglected home. It was helping a neighborhood. The crew from This Old House came to Detroit in late March. We got together at the University of Detroit Mercy for an hour-long special, not only looking at the project, but really having a bigger discussion about neighborhood revitalization. So here's Kevin O'Connor, Tom Silva, and Richard Trathewey of This Old House, and homeowners Frank and Tamiko Polk on the entire rehab experience.
It just kind of all fell together. I described it as being divine, just the way things just seemed to fall in place. The show talent, these guys came. They, at first, we didn't know what to expect. Is this going to be lights, camera, action, cut, and everybody takes off? They rolled their sleeves up. Kevin's on the roof, getting shingles off. Tommy's doing his thing. They went above and beyond. It was a phenomenal experience. Richard rolled his sleeves up, did demo work, and it was after about the first or second episode that we realized that they were invested, mentally, emotionally, whatnot, and it just became collaborative energy.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned kind of the emotional investment. Tamiko, let me ask you, when you're in the middle of this project and you know that this is where you want your family to be, and it can't be easy. And your story is playing out much the same as many homeowners across this area who are in Detroit neighborhoods who are saying, gosh, I want to save this old house. And it is a bear right now, and it's difficult, and it takes money, and it takes a lot of time.
Oh yeah, it was never just the start of it when we entered the home and we saw the peeling paint. I was like, how am I going to get up to the top of that and peel that paint off? It was just falling off. We had no clue on how to get that part of that remodel done. And we had people that came by that helped us out tremendously with that. It was like a night and day transformation. So
I want to get back to the people who just came by and started helping you out, because sometimes that doesn't usually happen.
Anybody in the room?
Oh yeah,
there's a lot.
Throw your hands up.
Raise your hands.
If you worked on the project, throw your hands up.
Get your hand up.
Oh, I see some hands over there. I love it.
Get them up.
Come on,
Put them up.
Put them up. There you go.
Okay, because that usually doesn't happen, that people just say, you know what, I'm just going to kind of step by and start pitching in. Explain that. Explain that for people who are not familiar with that.
To the point where they were bringing their kids by, to help us at the same time, because they really wanted to help. And that's, to me, shows dedication. It was a just tremendous help to the show itself. So.
Does that usually happen to you guys?
The
You
camaraderie
get
of
people
the
that usually
city.
skip by and want to...
Well, we don't allow it generally. It sounds kind of weird, but we've got a private homeowner, we've got a construction site, we've got a television show. People do drive by. We say thank you very much. Take a picture maybe. As nice as we can be, but we don't want them to come and help. We're like, no, we have people for that. But this is a different situation because we were coming back and forth, and we weren't here full time under Tommy's watchful eye. And then all of a sudden we realized we needed the help. And when, like, the third time one of these guys showed up and said, can I help? We're like, yeah, now you can. yeah, definitely. And they brought food and they brought stuff to drink. It was ridiculous. It was like homesteading. It was unbelievable.
So I guess, Tommy, explain that kind of connection when there are other people that are coming and saying, you know what, many hands, light work, but where this is for someone's home who has decided to be here and take something that some people thought maybe wasn't salvageable.
Well, these are all people that love the city, and they want to see it come back. And they want to help because they know the power that we have to our viewers to bring awareness to what can happen to the city. And they wanted to be part of that, bringing Frank and Tamiko's house back to where it was. And they just wanted to be, let's say, I want to help. I want to show people that this is Detroit. We'll do one at a time. Let's bring them back.
It's like being in the foxhole together. There's a sense of we're all in this together, and let's pull together and get through it.
It's always a team effort.
Frank, let me ask you though, because you say one house at a time, and that is a wonderful way to put it, because it really is building a story one at a time in all of these various neighborhoods around the city. But it's not easy. And what would you say to people who are attempting to start renovation like this, or saying, gosh, there's guts in there that I know that we can pull something out of, but it's not going to be an easy process?
No, like anything else, one step at a time. One house at a time. as long as you have the right attitude and the right energy and you enter into it, you know, with the right spirit, I think good things happen. You know, they just kind of take a life of their own. So I would say, you know, we've got a lot of work ahead of us as a city. Some things need to go, some things need to be preserved. And everything that needs to be preserved, we are more than capable of doing it. This is a city of grind, hustle, muscle, and we can do it.
It doesn't happen overnight.
No, that's for sure. Tamiko, let me ask you, what was the biggest challenge for you in this entire process?
Choices. Picking choices.
I'm gonna jump in and say this lady worked her butt off. I mean, she did a fantastic job, especially on that mantle.
Yeah.
I came back a week later and I saw this mantle. I said, wow, who stripped the mantle? Tamiko,
Yeah.
absolutely. What do you see it? It's absolutely beautiful.
Would you say that was your favorite piece or your favorite part? Because we talk about stained glass. I mean, you're looking at some of the moldings.
There's
I
a
mean,
lot.
The moldings, probably the archway that we have in the foyer. It's all plaster and it's kind of difficult to peel the paint out. So that project itself took me probably about a month just to get all of the painting peeled out and make sure I preserve the detail work that's in there. So we were able to keep that. So it turned out
It's
really
all
well.
ornamental plaster work. It's not
Yeah.
like a molding that you go in the home center and you buy one. This was done by an artisan, and over years, paint was built up. And she spent many hours scratching the paint out of there.
Yeah.
you know, it would seem to be a lot of research as well, Kevin, because again, you just made the point. You're not going to Home Depot or you're not going to your corner hardware store and saying, hey, just give me a couple pieces here and there. When you're looking at a home of this kind, it's just saying, gosh, we're going to rehab it. It's a much bigger process.
We did go down around the block and get some bricks.
Did you?
I didn't know that was a
Is that
thing.
a secret? Hang on.
I didn't know that was a thing, but all of a sudden they're like, oh, we got bricks.
They were calling. They were calling to us.
It was great.
Is this some of the tricks of the trade we're learning here?
We like to dive into the historical aspects. We had folks from the Historical Commission come out. I got the name wrong, but that's who they were to tell us the history. We had some great ways to replicate the details in the house. But when the project is said and done, for us, it's actually not about the historical details. It is about the house for a family. It's not this deep dive into this is from 1910 and the exact replication. It is about getting a family into their house. In this case, a house that was abandoned. In other cases, a house that they dreamed about. So all of that effort to tell the story and to do the work and to preserve the stuff wasn't so much about the history as it was about, you know, the Polk family getting in and back to the house. And in this case, telling the story of Detroit and how the city is going to be saved at that one house at a time. People who choose to live in these places, to do the work, and stay in the city.